All right, so we're diving deep into transformational leadership again today. And get this, we're going full-on action hero with this leaping mind idea. It's from Dr. Joshua Kolawole's book, Transforming the Impossible.
Yeah, Dr. Kolawole's background is really interesting. His experience as a lean, agile leader, and then his passion for healthcare, it kind of gives him this unique perspective on how we can achieve those big transformations.
Totally. And in this chapter, The Leaping Mind Unto Transformation, he really breaks down how to cultivate this mindset that, helps shatter limitations. It's like leveling up your inner superhero.
But it's important to clarify, I think. A leaping mind isn't about just jumping into the unknown without a plan.
Right. It's not about reckless risks. So what is it then? What's the secret sauce?
Well, think of it more as like spotting opportunities, even those hidden ones that others might miss, and then having the courage to, actually go for it. Dr. Kolawole uses the story of John Harrison to illustrate this. The clockmaker who solved the longitude problem.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Before his invention, sailors were basically just guessing their location at sea, which led to a few too many shipwrecks, to say the least.
Exactly. It was a huge scientific challenge back then. And this is where Harrison's leaping mind really shines. He spent over 47 years building these incredible clocks, marine chronometers, that could actually handle life on a ship. And what's interesting is his journey wasn't like one giant leap. It was a series of smaller ones. He was constantly tweaking his designs, refining them until he finally landed on this groundbreaking invention.
Right. Each of his clocks, from H1 to H4, they all marked significant progress. Like he was constantly leveling up his tech.
Exactly. And that highlights a really crucial part of the leaping mind. Even small, consistent steps can lead to massive changes over time.
So it's a journey, not a destination. Now, Dr. Kolawole also talks about operating in two different realms, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He describes this realm of imagination, where we can break free from those limitations and really dream up possibilities. And then there's the realm of action, where we turn those dreams into concrete steps and results.
So it's like having this brainstorming session, going wild with ideas, and then actually rolling up your sleeves and making it happen. That interplay between imagination and action is what fuels these huge transformations.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, to understand how our minds work in this process, Dr. Kolawole introduces what he calls the 3 levels of minds. He actually borrows this idea from Keegan and Leahy's work on immunity to change.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff.
So the first level is the convenience-driven mind.
Right. So these individuals are all about, instant gratification. They stick to routines and comfort zones, not necessarily resisting change, but not really chasing it either.
So probably not the folks leading revolutions.
Probably not.
Or making those daring leaps.
Right.
Okay, so then we move up to the efficiency-driven mind.
Yeah, the second level. These are the independent-driven, goal-oriented folks. They're all about incremental gains within those existing systems. They might climb the ladder, but they're not really looking to build a new one.
It's like they're playing the game well, but not questioning the rules of the game itself.
Exactly.
And finally, we reach the top tier, the self-transforming mind.
This is the third level, and this is where we really see that leaping mind concept in action. They welcome challenges, they think big picture, and they're always pushing past limits.
They're not just playing the game, they're trying to reinvent it.
Exactly. They crave mastery, not just for themselves, but for the whole system.
So these are the trailblazers, the innovators, the ones who aren't afraid to shake things up.
Exactly. They're looking for those fundamental shifts.
This framework is really helpful. It makes you think, what kind of mind am I operating from? How can I tap into those self-transforming qualities?
And Dr. Kolawole gives us a roadmap for that. He outlines 7 key qualities of a leaping mind that we can all work on developing.
Okay, let's dive into those. All right, so we've got these 3 levels of mindsets: convenience, efficiency, and transformation. But how do we actually put this leaping mind concept into action, especially when it comes to leadership?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. You see, Dr. Kolawole argues that true leadership, it's not just about managing people or tasks. It's about inspiring that transformation, both in individuals and within the systems they work in. And the leaping mind, it kind of provides the blueprint for making that happen.
Okay, so paint me a picture here. What does a leader with a leaping mind look like in action?
Well, first and foremost, they actually walk the walk. They embody those qualities we've been talking about, like living by principles, putting others first, constantly learning, spotting those opportunities, and having the guts to take action. They don't just talk about transformation, they live it.
Right. It's like that saying, actions speak louder than words. People can tell when a leader is genuine. And when they see someone who really embodies these qualities, it's inspiring.
Exactly. And leaping mind leaders, they don't just focus on their own growth either. They're really passionate about nurturing that same mindset in others. They create environments where innovation and risk-taking and continuous learning are encouraged.
So instead of holding on to control, they trust their teams to take ownership and make decisions.
Right. They actually encourage it. And it all ties back to that quality of stewardship, service, and sacrifice. A leaping mind leader understands that leadership, it's not about power or control. It's about serving others. It's about giving people the tools they need to reach their full potential.
And to contribute to that shared vision.
Exactly.
So it's about fostering that culture of collaboration where everyone feels valued and supported to, take those leaps.
And this is where that understanding seasons and moments quality is so key for a leader. They need to recognize, when their team is ready for a challenge, when to push them beyond their comfort zones, and when to provide that support and guidance.
It's like being a coach, knowing when to push your athletes hard and when to let them recover and recharge.
Exactly. It's about being attuned to the needs of your team and the timing of opportunities.
When those opportunities arise.
Right. And when a leader embodies these qualities, it creates this ripple effect throughout the whole organization. People feel more engaged, more empowered, more committed to that shared vision. And that's when real transformation takes place.
Yeah, it's not just about changing processes or structures. It's about changing those mindsets.
Yeah.
It's about creating a culture where everyone is encouraged to think differently, challenge those assumptions, and really strive for excellence.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, these are all great qualities, but are there any real-world examples of leaders who actually operate this way?
I was just thinking the same thing. Any examples come to mind for you?
Well, Dr. Kolawole doesn't name specific leaders in his book, but he uses the story of John Harrison to illustrate many of these principles. Even though he wasn't leading a team in the traditional sense, he was leading a movement.
He was a self-taught innovator who dedicated his life to solving this problem that seemed impossible at the time.
Exactly. He was persistent, he took risks, and he never gave up on his vision.
And ultimately, his work had a huge impact on the world.
It really did.
It shows that leadership can take many forms. It's not always about having that fancy title or position.
Right. It's about having a vision, inspiring others, and making that positive change.
I love that. And if we look beyond Dr. Kolawole's book, we can find tons of examples of leaders who embody these qualities.
Absolutely.
Think about someone like Nelson Mandela, who fought tirelessly for social justice, or Malala Yousafzai, who bravely advocates for education.
Or even in the business world, Elon Musk is constantly pushing those boundaries of innovation.
In fields like space exploration and renewable energy.
Exactly. These are all individuals who dared to think differently, who challenged the status quo, and who made a real difference.
Their stories show us that we all have that potential to lead, to inspire change, to make a positive impact.
We all have that leaping mind within us, just waiting to be unleashed.
So how do we tap into that potential? Where do we even begin? So we've established that we all have this leaping mind potential just waiting to be unleashed. But how do we actually tap into it? Like, what are the practical steps to cultivate these qualities?
Well, it all starts with self-awareness, recognizing those different mindsets, convenience, efficiency, transformation, and figuring out where we currently fall on that spectrum.
Okay.
Are we playing it safe in our comfort zones, or focused on incremental gains? Or are we ready to embrace those big, bold leaps?
Right. So once we have a better understanding of our own mindset, then what?
Then it's about identifying the specific qualities we want to develop. Do we need to work on being more courageous, more persistent, better at recognizing those kairos moments? Once we know what we're aiming for, and then we can start looking for opportunities to practice those qualities, step outside our comfort zones, and challenge ourselves to think and act differently.
It's like leveling up our skills.
Yeah.
But instead of fighting monsters, we're tackling those limiting beliefs and habits.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a sprint. We're not going to transform overnight.
Right.
There will be setbacks and challenges along the way. But it's that commitment to continuous growth and learning that ultimately makes all the difference.
It's about embracing those challenges,
Yeah.
learning from our mistakes, and never giving up on our vision. And maybe surrounding ourselves with people who will support us and push us to be our best.
Absolutely. Find those mentors. Join communities of like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Create environments that foster that innovation and collaboration.
Iron sharpens iron, as they say.
Exactly.
Well, this deep dive has been so inspiring. We've explored this fascinating concept of the leaping mind, broken down the qualities that define it, and seen how it connects to powerful leadership.
Yeah, what really stands out to me is that leadership, it's not about titles or authority, it's about mindset.
It's about having the courage to envision a better future, the willingness to take action, and the commitment to inspire others to do the same. And that's something we all have the power to do. No matter what our job title is or our role is, we can all be leaders in our own unique ways, creating positive change in our families, our communities, and the world. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question to ponder. What area of your life are you ready to apply your leaping mind to? What's that one thing you've been hesitant to pursue, but deep down, has the potential for a breakthrough?
That's a great question. It's not enough to just understand these concepts. We have to actually put them into practice. Be willing to take that leap, step outside our comfort zones, and embrace the unknown. And remember, those leaps don't have to be massive, life-altering changes all at once. They can start with small steps, making a conscious choice to shift our mindset, adopt a new habit, or take on a new challenge.
Right. Each small step builds momentum. And before you know it, you've come so far. It's that consistent progress, that willingness to keep learning and growing. That ultimately leads to those amazing breakthroughs. Well, with that, we've reached the end of our deep dives into the leaping mind. We've explored its power, the qualities that define it, and how it can help us become more effective leaders and change makers.
And I hope this has inspired you to cultivate your own leaping mind and make a real impact. Don't forget to check out Dr. Kolawole's book, Transforming the Impossible, for a deeper exploration of these ideas.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep leaping forward.